We had a very difficult episode when we wanted to move from one building to the new building. That became a whole planning community. You know, an immense NIMBY conversation. We're moving from the community I've just described to being one that's actually on the other side of the town centre, up on the hill, different residential community, external residential world, as it were, and it's a bit more involved in the student accommodation. And during that planning application process, you've got to love this, there was a suggestion that, you know, non-taking drug and alcohol users were going to be responsible for exposing students to drug use, as if university students are more than capable of doing their own drink and drug use without any help from a bunch of ex-addicts, like, you know. But it was so there are always going to be, I think, these difficult moments always going forward, and any one of those moments could ultimately break an organization, as it does any organization. Of course, you know, it happened for a really good friend, you know, Ian with Lifeline. So but they happen, yes, and you know, but I'm optimistic that actually the future for North Wales Recovery Community looks really, really good, and it just looks for it being a integral part of its two communities. You know, it will be an integral part of the whole recovery community that's in and around our town, but it will be an integral part of its town community as well. And I find that quite exciting, really, in an interesting sort of way, you know.
Well, sitting from the outside, where I am, it looks really exciting. I mean, I'm really, really amazed. And one of the key, obviously, then, in terms of sustainability, is your trustees and those sort of people on the outside who value you for what you are, rather than for what they can get out of it, and are willing to help. I mean, that's, you know, that's fantastic. You need all those different levels of expertise at some stage, don't you? If you're doing what you guys are doing.
Yeah, and very rightly so. As generous as the two business philanthropic partners have been, in a sense, they've also insisted that North Wales Recovery Community is a, you know, in a much more simpler language, it's a bunch of addicts, gets its act together in terms of the way in which it accounts for money. They're not handing over £1 million to help us buy a building without saying, actually, we want to know exactly what's going on with the money a bit better. So, you know, there's no issue with that. So, you know, sometimes these things are a little bit positive, you know, but it's very challenging. Sometimes the bit that can get wearisome, I think, for organisations like North Wales Recovery and for James, is perpetually having to defend what it is that we don't do, rather than being applauded for what we do. Yes, when you become a very different organisation, it's always about, well, why are you not following what we consider to be standard risk assessments processes, or these kind of processes, or is that the right way to do an assessment criteria for who should or shouldn't join the community, or like, you know. And it always gets much harder to get celebrated for all the things that you achieve, rather than the things that you don't really.